All right, everybody, welcome to a special recovery episode of Teaching Crypto, Easy Crypto with Mr. FOMO. We've got two huge stories. And Mr. FOMO, you want to tell us about Voyager because you've been communicating with Paul Hage and you've got a major update on the timeline on when people can expect their checks and their money. So take it away because this is critical.
Yeah, I emailed Paul over the weekend. He gets back pretty quickly. So if you have questions of your own, you can email him too. But don't bombard the guy because he's pretty busy. But um, I got to him, or I asked him about the timeline, and he said there's still several important steps that they have to go through. He didn't outline what those steps were, but he said there's still several important steps that they have to go through before they can get the checks printed and sent out. And he said that the earliest he can anticipate was July or August in the email. And so
Okay, so
unless there is a major update and unless I'm able to get any more information out of him, the earliest that we can see checks is July and possibly not until August.
Okay, so May, it was always a long shot. We talked about June, looks like July. Good and bad news. Well, the good news is at least there's been no derailment of the money
Right?
coming. The bad news is you're not getting it in time, I think, to catch this dip. I think the dip is pretty much over. We'll talk about it. It doesn't mean we're going straight up to 80K tomorrow. We're going to get into the nuance of this, but that's important because a lot of people, not everyone, is going to be taking their Voyager money and trying to grow it as much as you can for the rest of the bull run. And speaking for the rest of the bull run, remember what I said, guys. I said that we were not going to go down, stay down, and keep going down for April, May, June, July. And we got a huge week of recovery since the last time we went on the air. Bitcoin actually hit 65K last night. Don't forget, the last time I did a solo, 56K. What I told people is just chill, just relax. But whatever you do, don't sell your Bitcoin. Don't sell your ETH. Don't sell your Solana. By the way, hit that like, subscribe, bell notification, super chats. Help us grow. Welcome to our new and old listeners and viewers. Help us grow to 2,000 subs as quickly as you can so you could share the show. It would be really helpful to us. You know, something that I've noticed, and we've talked about this before, there's still been a secret buyer of Bitcoin, Mr. FOMO, and he or she, whoever that may be, continues to buy. And in fact, a few days ago, they bought 4,300 Bitcoin in just 24 hours. Every day, they're known to buy about 100 Bitcoin over and over and over again. Now, obviously, this is a very wealthy individual or individuals, right? You can't just assume it's
Could
one
be a
person.
collective.
Group. Could be a country. Who knows? Could be a company, right? Could be someone representing someone that's famous and doesn't want to be in the spotlight for doing this, like Michael Saylor's doing. But someone is buying in huge bulk, and I don't think it's a coincidence. They bought 4,300 when we were struggling. When I say struggling, I mean compared to the 74 6.5 weeks ago. But the dip was bought up, and that's a really good sign. And that's going to lead us into what you think is going to happen over the next several weeks.
Yeah, to me, I think that Bitcoin is still going to grind sideways. So I think that we're actually going to have an opportunity to still put our money in July or August. Might be a little bit late in July and August, but there's still going to be opportunities to be had in July and August. So, but I think that with the Halloween indicator, with the macro environment, we haven't really seen the economy fully turn around, depending on who you talk to. And so there's a lot of different things that are pushing back against Bitcoin there still. But I think it'll grind kind of sideways. We might still get up to 70 again this summer, or we might kind of push through the 60s and kind of slog through the summer. But I think I still think there will be opportunity there at the end of the summer when we get those checks back, to be honest with you.
Now, the major question is, did we finally bottom out at 56? And that really is the huge question. I think we have. However, be careful because this May, and none of us anticipated a good May. Now, I kind of disagree with you in one sense. I do think July things are going to quickly turn upwards. When I'm talking upwards, I think we're going to make new all-time highs and go well past them. So I don't think you're going to have a ton of time. You can always buy during that time, but it's still a good time to buy, guys. All right. The day I did the show at 56, if you had the capital put in, that was, and we'll talk about one project that we've talked about before that I think has enormous potential for the next 6 to 12 months here in just a second. I mentioned it before, but I think there's time. I still think now is a good time to get in, right? Um, the prices a week ago were insanely great, but people were worried that we were going down to 50. So a lot of people didn't buy. And now it's 64. You still got to hold 60s. And that's, I think, important. So what I want to see this week is Bitcoin hold 60. And then I want to go ahead. And I want to see it hold 65 the next week. And what that will do, and we'll talk about it, is allow the alts to kind of flourish without needing Bitcoin to even get back to 75K.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. Is I'm looking for the alts to run a little bit now that the reins have been taken off Bitcoin. Like you said, you don't necessarily need Bitcoin to print new all-time highs for the alts to gain some strength. And so if you DCA'd into some of these alts during this dip, you might have an opportunity to take some decent profits coming up pretty soon. I did not time the bottom. I was DCAing a couple of projects on the way down, and I did not time the bottom. So I have to be patient, to be honest with you, cards on the table. I definitely lived up to my FOMO name. And so I bought the dip, but I bought too early in the dip. And so now I have to be a little bit patient. But, probably early on in my crypto career, I would have been freaking out by now. But to be honest with you, I kind of knew this turnaround was coming. And then you hear people like Arthur Hayes, former CEO of BitMEX, saying that he thinks that the bottom is in and that we're going to see a turnaround. So when you start seeing people like that, and you see smart money like Mr. 100 continuing to buy through that dip, you know that things haven't changed. The cycle isn't broken. And so we can anticipate some strength in this market through the summer, and then way beyond that, I think, into the end of the year, into early 2025.
And always we talk about this. If you zoom out, you really see this is the yearly right here. And you can see a year ago, and I remember talking to you about this in Mr. FOMO, 28K, right? And so that gives you perspective. 28K, right? Hit 65 last night, 64. And so, the question is, where are we going to be at in 12 months from now? I'm really hoping for well over 100K. I'll make that nice little juicy prediction on this Monday. I do think the bull run will still be going on, and I think we're going to be above that 100K mark. I really do. And so absolutely not a bad time to buy, just because it's almost impossible to time the bottom. I mean, it's not completely far-fetched that we could see 55 again, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I do anticipate late summer, early fall, you're going to see some nice fireworks. And I do anticipate worst case, we hit 90K this fall. And right now, 90, oh yeah, we're headed there. But yet at 56, the mentality was, oh, there's no way we're getting to 90K. So definitely.
And from here, that's almost a 50% return. So if you bought here, you'd be looking great at the end of the year if you got a 50% return. I dare you to go into the regular market and find that kind of a return.
And once again, this will end. There'll be a time to sell, but now is not that time at all. So whether it's ETH, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's Solana, if you've been holding those, keep holding. Still plenty of time for entertainment. It's only to make more money. Now, one of the projects that we've discussed that is linked to Solana is Marinade. And this is an example of what happens when Bitcoin just does okay. Doesn't need to do great. And so Solana, Mr. FOMO, pardon me, Marinade, what I wanted to say, is up 20%. Okay. Now, look at that market cap right there, 48.6 million. I really, really don't think 480 million is out of the question by this fall. There's your 10x, ladies and gentlemen. Not guaranteed by any means. However, if Solana does well, Marinade is likely to also do well, and they've both been doing well. And Solana's market cap is obviously much, much higher. So if you're looking for something, now this is more risky, right? This is not as stable as buying Solana. But if you're looking to, I wouldn't say gamble, but go with a riskier selection, and we talked about this one. This has major yield rewards in the Solana ecosystem. This is one I think, Mr. FOMO, if it did 10x in the next 4 to 5 months, we wouldn't be shocked. We would not be shocked. Now I have a little bit. I wish I had timed it so I could have gotten it a week ago, but I think this one should do very, very well.
Well, I think you hit on an important factor, is that it is a Solana token. And so the fact that Solana is so strong is going to bring that along as well. But the thing that I like about it is over the past week, it has been gaining strength, even though Bitcoin was struggling. And so to see it jump up 20% like that, that's an incredibly bullish sign for me. And then to see that it's linked to Solana on top of that is something that I also like to see, especially in this bull run.
It's just a little under 19 cents right now. Now, here's the crazy thing. The top of the cycle, it was at 68 cents. So that it can easily, come on now. You're telling me when Bitcoin gets back into the 70s, this thing's not going to be closer to that. It could easily get closer to that range. In fact, the 68 cents was last December, not that long ago. So I do think this one, this month, it got down to 14, and yesterday it actually made a run at 20, got rejected. Okay, so these low caps that we've been talking about, Marinade and Muse, right? Muse is still an amazing opportunity right now. It's gone back up to 15 cents, but last week you could have gotten into 13s, right? And I do believe I would be shocked, Mr. FOMO, if in August Muse is not well above 20. So there's another one right there.
Yeah. I would say if Muse isn't in the 30s by August, something's terribly wrong.
Well, market cap 7.6 million, right? Okay. And this year it did make a run to 27. So there are a lot. Don't feel like you're watching the show. Oh, I missed the bottom. No, you did not miss the bottom. We just gave you two low caps right there and I think these are safe low caps. Let me explain what a safe low cap is. I don't think you have to worry about a rug. These are real projects with real people behind them. Now, would I want to hold these for years and years? Absolutely not. But that's no alt. That includes Ethereum. That includes Sol. You want to take profits on the way up. And the goal, guys, is very simple. You want to be taking profits through the fall so that the next time we have a major dip like we just had for the last 6.5 weeks, and it's still kind of going on because we haven't gone back to 74, you can buy in slowly or wait. You don't have to buy in right away and watch for the explosion. Because right now, if you're in the market over the next several months, all you got to do is just wait and the money will come in. I don't expect the ETH ETF to be approved. However, I think it's going to be delayed and delayed and delayed. But I would be surprised if we got an ETH approval, but you never know because BlackRock's pushing for one, Mr. FOMO. Never say never. It's not dead, but what I could see is more breadcrumbs that could help this fall, but I don't think we're getting an approval this month.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that we get an approval anytime soon because when they were asked about it recently, I forget which person it was. I think it was the lady that looks like my grandma, but I forget her name. But she said that they're in enforcement mode.
Grandma FOMO?
What's that?
Grandma FOMO?
Yeah, she looks a lot like my grandma. I forget her name offhand, but she spoke at a conference and she said that they are 100% in enforcement mode, and so it doesn't look like they will be approving the ETF anytime soon. But What I'm hoping for is that rumors of the ETF approval keep floating in the same way it did with
Oh,
Bitcoin, and that will cause some pumps in the market, and that will cause everything to run a little bit, because the high tide of those ETF rumors kind of raises all.
and I expect ETH to get well above 10K. I'm not sure about the 20 that most people say, but I really like the 10K actually before 2025. So ETH, if you're holding ETH, don't worry. Still plenty of opportunities to sell later. Well, guys, this has been a great show. Please help us help the show. Hit that like, hit that subscribe bell notification. We'll be here all week. Hopefully, Bitcoin continues to run. For Mr. FOMO, this is AZcrypto. Have a great day, everybody.
See you.